One of the most important skills in TFT is knowing how to play your strongest board, but for some reason there aren't that many resources out there that explain what it is. Here I prepared a really simple example to show you why this skill is important. So I have two different boards. In my first board I have a Hellion board with a 1-star Poppy, a 1-star Kled, and a 1-star Ziggs. And in my other board I have a 1-star Vladimir, a 1-star Gragas, and a 1-star Ziggs. Which board is stronger? It's pretty obvious that it's the Hellion board because all three of your units are going to be benefiting from the 3 Hellion synergy. But what if I told you that the Vladimir and the Gragas are 2-starred? Now which board is stronger? Now you have to ask yourself, is the raw stats of having a 2-star Vladimir and a 2-star Gragas stronger than having the Hellion synergy on your 3 1-star units? And the answer to this question is that the Vladimir and the Gragas are stronger. But now what if I told you that in your other board your Poppy was 2-starred as well? These are the types of questions you need to be asking yourself every single turn if you want to improve. And it only scratches the surface of what playing your strongest board really means. Once you get to late game, where you have 8 different units and 8 items to manage, the difficulty of these types of questions will exponentially increase. In this video, I'm going to cover all the key concepts of playing your strongest board and show you examples for each one. So there's 4 main concepts to playing your strongest board. The first main concept is going to be unit strength, and what unit strength basically means is judging whether or not a unit is individually stronger than another unit. So a really simple example I could give you is if you're comparing a 1-star Vayne against a 1-star Ziggs. The 1-star Ziggs is going to be superior to the 1-star Vayne simply because of how the unit works. It's just a lot stronger. But if you had a 2-star Vayne instead of a 1-star Ziggs, then the 2-star Vayne is going to be individually stronger than the 1-star Ziggs because of the raw stats. A similar example would be if you're comparing a Udyr and a Nidalee. If you're comparing a 1-star Udyr against a 1-star Nidalee, the Nidalee is going to be stronger. But if your Udyr was 2-star, then your 2-star Udyr is going to be stronger than your 1-star Nidalee. But this case doesn't always apply. For example, if you're comparing an Ashe against a Kindred, even if the Ashe is 2-starred, a lot of the times the 1-star Kindred is going to be stronger simply because of how Kindred works. Because Kindred is going to grant your team an AoE invincibility, whereas all Ashe does is provide a CC. So the next key concept I'm going to be talking about is synergies, and the main question you need to be asking yourself is how much impact will these synergies be giving to my units? A good example I have for you is this board. I have a 2-star Udyr, a 2-star Kennen, and a 1-star Lulu. And let's say I had the choice to play a 1-star Lulu against a 1-star Trundle in this board. The 1-star Lulu is individually stronger than the 1-star Trundle, but by playing the Trundle, it gives my 2-star Udyr and my 2-star Kennen the Skirmisher buff, which gives them a lot more damage. So in this case, the better board would be to play Trundle instead of Lulu, because you get that luxury 3 skirmisher synergy. But now let's say you have a board like this. You have 3 2-star skirmishers and 2 backline rangers with a 1-star Vayne and a 1-star Varus, and you have the choice to play a 2-star Kha'Zix and a 2-star Lissandra instead. Which board is stronger? Although this board gives you an additional ranger synergy, you have to ask yourself, is this 2 ranger synergy really going to be that beneficial to a 1-star Varus and a 1-star Vayne anyway? Because these 2 units are still 1-star, even though they benefit from this synergy, they're still not going to be doing any damage. Whereas if you had a 2-star Lissandra and a 2-star Kha'Zix, even though they're not benefiting from any synergies at all, the raw stats from the 2-star Lissandra and the 2-star Kha'Zix is going to be stronger than your useless 2 ranger synergy on your 1-star Vayne and your 1-star Varus. So the next point I'm going to talk about is itemization. And for itemization, there's 2 main points you want to be thinking about. The first point is thinking about which unit on your team is going to be benefiting the most from the item you could make. So in this example, let's say I have a 1-star Udyr, a 1-star Kennen, and a 1-star Nidalee. The Bloodthirster is going to be better on the Nidalee simply because Nidalee is the better unit. But let's say that you have a 2-star Udyr instead. The Bloodthirster is now going to be stronger on your 2-star Udyr because a 2-star Udyr is individually stronger than your 1-star Nidalee. And putting the Bloodthirster on your Udyr instead of your Nidalee in this case is going to make your team stronger overall. But in this separate example, let's say you have a 2-star Kled and a 2-star Poppy and a 1-star Ziggs. Even though you have a 2-star Poppy and a 2-star Kled, you don't want to be putting the blue buff on the Poppy or Kled. The blue buff is still going to be better on the Ziggs due to the nature of the champion and Ziggs' low mana pool. And the second point to itemization is, are there any items stronger that are left on bench? You might be thinking what kind of items these are. Some common ones that come to mind are Zephyr and Trapclaw. I have a quick example here. If I have a Shroud on my Mordekaiser, during my next fight, I have a 50% chance of shrouding their entire team, and this ultimately depends on whether or not they're positioned on the left or right side. But let's say I had this Shroud on my bench instead. Right before the fight starts, I could put the Shroud on the Mordekaiser or Morgana, depending on which side they're positioned at, guaranteeing that my Shroud hits their entire team. So this is a scenario where having the item on your bench is stronger than having your item already slammed on a unit, because having the item on your bench gives you the ability to guarantee that the Shroud or Zephyr is going to hit. Another really good item that I could think of that benefits a lot from staying on your bench is Trap Claw. And the reason for that is if you're playing against the Vel'Koz matchup, a lot of the times the Vel'Koz is going to shoot his ulti at your Kindred and Aphelios, and they're both going to die. But what you could do is, right when Vel'Koz ultis your backline here, you could actually place the Trap Claw during his beam, and it automatically stuns a Vel'Koz, winning you the fight. So the last concept I'm going to be talking about for playing your strongest board is your front and backline balance. So for example, in this board, you have 4 frontline units. Your board is really weak because you don't have any damage at all. It doesn't matter how tanky you are or how much damage you could take. If you're doing no damage, you're not going to win the fight. And similarly, in this example, you have 4 backline units and you do a lot of damage, but it doesn't matter because your team is still going to get steamrolled because you have no tank. So here you're playing 2 knights and spellweavers, and this variation is going to be stronger than the other two because it has the best balance between a frontline and a backline. So now, let's go through some examples in real games and try to apply these concepts. Also, if you're enjoying the video so far, I would really appreciate it if you like the video and subscribe to my channel. But let's get right into it. So in this spot, I have a pretty strong board. I have the 3 Hellion synergy with a Thresh to complement the 2 Knights with Poppy, and I also have a Brand to complement the 2 Spellweavers with Ziggs. Here in my spot, I'm trying to figure out if I have a stronger board that I could play than my current one. And I'm wondering if you could see it too. So there is actually a stronger board that I could be playing here. And the stronger board is dropping Brand for Kennen. You might be wondering why I dropped Brand here, but let's take a look at what Brand really adds to my team. So sure, Brand gives the 2 Spellweaver synergy onto my Ziggs and my Brand, but you also have to consider where my damage is coming from. Is a 1-star Brand really going to contribute that much to my damage? And it's true that Ziggs is my carry, but you also have to wonder where Ziggs damage is coming from. So right now, most of Ziggs damage is coming from the Static Shiv procs, combined with the Deathblade from Ziggs auto attacks. Even if my Ziggs 1 is going to get a lot more AP from the Spellweaver buff, it isn't going to significantly increase my Ziggs damage. Whereas if I played a Kennen over my Brand instead, although I lose the 2 Spellweaver synergy, Kennen himself is a Hellion, so when Kennen dies, he's going to spawn again and give me another unit to be my frontline. And not only that, but Kennen himself is actually a really valuable unit due to the CC that he provides. And by adding more frontline and CC to my team, it's going to indirectly make my Ziggs do more damage. So my strongest board from this spot is to just play 4 Hellions with Kennen and play a random Thresh. So here is another situation where I have to make a decision on what my strongest board is. I found the Heimerdinger in the shop, and Heimerdinger is for sure better than something on my board. So I'm trying to figure out who I could replace. So there's a few options I could take here. The first option is to take out this Nautilus for my Heimerdinger. I would lose 2 Ironclad, but I would maintain my Thresh 2. The other option is to play my Heimerdinger over my Thresh. I would lose my 2-star unit on my board, but I would maintain the Ironclad synergy across my entire team. And the third option is to drop down to 3 Hellions instead and play 4 Knights with Heimerdinger. So I could take out Kennen for Taric for 4 Knights, and I could also take out this Lulu from my Heimerdinger. And I think my strongest board is really close between the 4 Knight variation versus the 5 Hellion variation. But I think the 5 Hellion variation is very slightly stronger, only due to Ziggs items, because Ziggs has a Gwynsu, which scales really well off the 50% initial attack speed that the Hellions provide. And most of Ziggs' damage is coming from Static Shiv, which scales really well off attack speed as well. And not only that, but Ziggs has Deathblade. For every unit that dies that gets hit by the Static Shiv, Ziggs is going to gain bonus 80 for every unit that died. So this combination of items on Ziggs is what convinced me to pick the 5 Hellion variation over the 4 Knights with Taric. So here's another example. I'm in the middle of my transition and I just found a Darius. I'm trying to figure out how to get Darius in, because Darius is for sure better than something on my board. And the question is, who do I drop here to play my Darius? So there's no way I'm going to be dropping my Jax and my Nautilus because I have the Ironclad spat, and keeping Nautilus and Jackson will get me to 3 Ironclad, which is actually pretty huge. There's no way I'm dropping my Ashe because my carry is Aphelios and he needs that extra attack speed. And there's no way I'm going to be dropping Morgana or Diana because if I keep those units in, by playing Darius, I could play 4 Nightbringer, which is a really good synergy. I could consider dropping this Heimerdinger, but in my opinion, Heimerdinger is such a strong individual unit right now that even though he isn't contributing to any synergies, he's worth putting in. So the only option left is taking out this Taric, because if I play Darius over Taric, not only do I maintain the 2 Knight synergy because Darius is a Knight, but I also get to play 4 Nightbringers, which is really beneficial to my team. So now, in this situation, I just hit a 2-star Mordekaiser in my shop. And the question is a 2-star Mordekaiser better than anything on my board? So there's no way I'm dropping the 3 Ironclad like I said, and I also have a Jax too. There's no way I'm dropping a Nightbringer, so Diana, Morgana, and Darius and Aphelios stay in. And Ashe is buffing up my Aphelios right now because he's my carry, so she's pretty important too. the only unit that I could be dropping is Heimerdinger. So my strongest board after I hit the Mordekaiser is playing the Mordekaiser over the Heimer. So previously when I only had a 1-star Mordekaiser, even though if I played the Mordekaiser, it would give me an additional Dragon Slayer synergy, the Dragon Slayer synergy isn't going to benefit my team anyway, because a 1-star Mordekaiser or a 1-star Diana isn't going to be scoring any takedowns to give my team more AP. So the strength of Heimerdinger as a unit is more valuable than the 2 Dragon Slayer synergy with 1-star Diana and 1-star Mordekaiser, and is more valuable than a 1-star Mordekaiser as a frontline. But now that I have a 2-star Mordekaiser, it's slightly stronger to play the 2-star Mordekaiser over the Heimerdinger because I already have most of my damage coming from my 2-star Aphelios. I don't need that much more damage. What I'm lacking here is a good frontline, and a 2-star Mordekaiser is going to provide me exactly that. Once I hit the 2-star Mordekaiser, I end up playing it over the 1-star Heimerdinger, and it's definitely stronger. So in this example, it's a little different. I'm actually in the carousel right now trying to decide what item I should take. So here, take a quick look at my board and try and figure out what item I should be taking off the carousel. So the item I ended up taking was the Gargoyle Stone Plate, and I think that a lot of players would have opted to get the Bloodthirster instead. While Bloodthirster is a really good damage item, it isn't the correct item to take here because even if you took the Bloodthirster, who would you be putting the item on? You already have a 3-item Aphelios, so you're not putting it on your Aphelios. So you would most likely be putting it on your Ashe. But the thing is, your Ashe isn't actually doing that much damage. So even if she has that Bloodthirster, it isn't going to benefit you that much. Whereas if you took a tank item like Guardian Stone Plate, you could put on your Mordekaiser and it actually makes him a lot tankier. And remember, your strongest board is having a good balance between your front line and your back line. You already have enough backline damage because you have perfect item Aphelios and a 2-star Ashe. What you're lacking here is a solid front line because you still currently have a 1-star Darius, a 1-star Nautilus, a 1-star Morgana, a 1-star Diana. Your only real frontline units are your 2-star Jax and your 2-star Mordekaiser. And by putting this Gargoyle Stone Plate on your 2-star Mordekaiser, it enables your front line to live a lot longer, indirectly making your backline do more damage than if you just took the Bloodthirster and put it on Ashe. As always, if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like and comment down below and subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you guys like these strongest board puzzles, because if you guys did, I might include similar puzzles in my future videos as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.